You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Webb City firefighters are battling a blaze.
And the Joplin Public Library asks its patrons to come on down and see the library to keep access to its services.
And let's take a look at your forecast from the Skywatch Weather Center. We have some showers and storms on radar, but they're mainly out towards the west in western Oklahoma. We'll have the complete holiday forecast.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. On Wednesday, Webb City fire crews battled a morning blaze. The fire started just after 9 in the 800 block of East Fountain Road. Now the house is heavily damaged. The resident was not home at the time. No one was hurt. No word yet on the cause of the fire. Authorities in southeast Kansas arrest a wanted man out of Washington for child molestation. Garrett Morrell is now behind bars after about 3 years of being wanted in the state of Washington. According to the Bourbon County Sheriff's Office, Morrell had active 2020 felony warrants for 4 counts of first-degree child molestation. Authorities say Morrell fled from law enforcement. Following a manhunt, the Sheriff's Office and the Fort Scott Police Department took Morrell into custody. Authorities say he will be extradited to Pierce County, Washington. A group of voters and religious leaders ask a federal court to strike down Arkansas's 2021 U.S. House map as unconstitutional. They say it dilutes the influence of black voters in the Little Rock area. A lawsuit by 3 Pulaski County voters and the Christian Ministerial Alliance is the 3rd that's been filed since 2021. It challenges the Republican-led legislature's decision to divide a portion of the Little Rock area among 3 House districts. The redistricting plan moved thousands of predominantly black voters out of the 2nd District in central Arkansas by splitting up heavily Democratic Pulaski County. Republicans hold all 4 of the state's U.S. House seats. Missouri lawmakers approve a bill that would give former state inmates who were proven innocent larger payments if they promise not to sue. The bill removes the provision of a previous law limiting payments to cases where innocence is proven solely as a result of DNA analysis. If the bill is signed by Governor Mike Parson, more inmates who are cleared after previous convictions would become eligible for the payments. The bill increases the per-day amount from $100 to $179 and bumps up the allowance for annual payment by nearly $30,000 to $65,000. But they would have to give up their right to sue the people who put them behind bars.
And we have some showers and thunderstorms on radar, but they're way out in western Oklahoma, but they are needing the rainfall as well, as they've been in drought conditions, as well as southeastern Kansas. Closer to home, we had some storms yesterday over there in Dade County, producing quite a bit of heavy rainfall there. Then during the afternoon, we had more storms developing across Montgomery County, Nowata, and Washington counties in Oklahoma, dumping quite a bit of rain. And as a result, we've seen the fog develop across the area this morning, especially in those areas where the rainfall occurred. But as the afternoon starts to get closer, we're going to see the fog dissipate, and we'll get closer to partly cloudy skies this afternoon. In fact, here's a look at your forecast as we head through the lunch hour, around 80 degrees, and then this afternoon 83 for your high under partly cloudy skies. And then looking down the lane, we have some isolated thunderstorms possible, mainly in the western sections. A fantastic Friday, a super Saturday and Sunday. And then what about Memorial Day? Well, I'll tell you all about that in our holiday forecast coming up in just a little bit. Tanya?
All right, the Joplin Public Library is asking its library card holders to visit with them to keep access to services. The public library is revising its registration form, which means residents currently owning a library card need to fill the new form to stay eligible for services. Library Director Gina Gockley says a change on a state level makes the library in compliance with administrators by July 31st. And unless a resident fills the new form, their account will expire and be temporarily inaccessible starting today.
You do not have to bring in photo ID, you don't have to bring in current proof of your address. If you already have a library card, you still have a card. It just doesn't work until you come update your registration form.
Gockley says residents who have their Wi-Fi hotspots already checked out can continue to use them, but will eventually have to come in and update their form if checking something out in the future. Fort Scott Historic Site invites you to join them in placing flags for symbols of sacrifice. With Memorial Day right around the corner, it's time to honor those who have passed. that have served our country. On May 26th, the Fort Scott Historic Site and those who wish to volunteer will be placing flags in the Symbols of Sacrifice Field of Honor. They recommend groups and individuals volunteering arrive anywhere from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Field of Honor will be available to view until Memorial Day.
It is an extreme honor to be able to be involved in this. Without their sacrifices, we would not be the free nation we are today. This is something that goes and touches everybody's life. No matter if you've never served in the military or if you have, your life would be changed if these people hadn't done these things.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about retiring police chief of Joplin.
That's right. Also later, we're going to be unveiling the latest piece of technology to come to KOAM. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. But first, we're taking a live look out at I-44 in southwestern Joplin, a beautiful shot there. We're going to have a complete look at your forecast when we come back.
Welcome back. We've got Captain Will Davis from the Joplin Police Department joining us in studio. Thanks for coming in so early this morning.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Some big changes about to happen in the department.
Yeah, we're coming up on Chief Rowland's last week at the Joplin Police Department.
Wow.
We're sad to see him go, but we're very excited for him. He's done a lot of great things for the department, a lot of great things for the city of Joplin, and again, we're sad to see him go, but we're really happy for him and all the accomplishments he's had.
Let's talk about some of those accomplishments and when he took the reins.
Yeah, so to me, the last 3 years, when you look back, he's had a lot of things that he's had to work through, a lot of tough times. And so you think that we started off with a pandemic, working through things that, in the last 100 years, police chiefs haven't had to think about. So kind of the formulating a response from a law enforcement perspective to those has been really intriguing. And then, of course, the death of Corporal Ben Cooper and Officer Jake Reed. Just losing one officer is hard enough, but losing two and then at the exact same time, it's something that a lot of people don't understand. The intricacies of how all that works, the response to it, what it goes into it, and so. And
how while it's hurting you too, because
know
these people, but
yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to stay strong because you're the leader. Absolutely.
So he did a fantastic job with that. And then, the city had a cybersecurity event here the last couple of years, and he actually kind of had to lead the response to that initially, and so he's had a lot of big things on his plate while still working through normal operations of a police department.
All right. Do we have plans for a transition, or how is that going to happen?
Yeah, so Assistant Chief Brian Lewis, he's going to be interim chief effective on June 2nd. June 1st is Chief Rowland's last day, and so Assistant Chief Lewis will take the reins, and they're just now, I believe this week, starting the process to start the national search to bring in the next head of the Joplin Police Department. So we're excited. We're hoping that maybe by the end of summer or early fall that we kind of know who's going to be taking over the reins of the police department.
All right. Well, I mean, Joplin is a great community. He's done a wonderful job.
Yeah. 35 years. Hats off to him. That's a long time and done a fantastic job. So very, very proud.
All right. Now, I know we weren't planning on talking about this, but it's Memorial Weekend. It's always a big weekend for Joplin and the police department as well. You guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So we'll, additional staffing, kind of, monitoring things, and of course have, normal patrols and everything going on, and we're just asking that everybody kind of be responsible, have a good, safe, enjoyable Memorial Day weekend, and hopefully we're keeping the fingers crossed goes off with no big issues.
Yep, we want to come back to next week with no problems.
That's absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And of course, if anybody has anything, if they have any questions, I mean, they can feel free to always call in. We'd love to talk to people and address any issues that we can. So, feel free to reach out, or if send us a message online or through social media, whatever it is. We'd like to help solve those problems.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this
You're welcome.
morning.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
talking
you.
about Chief Rowland as well. He will be missed.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. We have a beautiful morning across the area with just a little bit of fog, especially in some of those river valleys. Right now in Seneca, Missouri, at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, mostly fair skies, just a few clouds in the background. We're going to be dealing with the allergies once again today on the bad side, 8.9. A little bit of an improvement tomorrow, down to 8.8. Most of that grass is hickory and mulberry. We had quite a bit of rain yesterday morning in Dade County over near Greenfield. Then in the afternoon, we saw thunderstorms refiring back up in Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, where they definitely needed the rainfall. Everywhere in the green was an inch or more. Even in parts of Nowata County, over 3 inches of rainfall, and that's definitely welcome. We're seeing those storms now moving off towards the west, not really impacting our weather today. Temperatures right now are generally in the 50s and 60s, 61 in Iola as well as Welch, 58 down in Jay. Right now in Joplin, we're looking at mostly fair skies, 60 degrees with a calm wind. Dew point is 59, so the humidity is still high at 96%. And there's a little bit of fog out there at the airport with visibility at 6 miles. You can see the fog a little bit here in Pittsburgh. 60 degrees, dew point 60 as well, so that means 100% on the humidity and 7 miles on the visibility. Temperatures today are going to be rising into the 70s and 80s, low 80s by this afternoon with a high of 83 under partly cloudy skies. Rain chances are going to be out towards the west. In fact, severe weather in the high plains, but not really expecting any strong storms in our area. Rain chances are going to be low pretty much over the next 36 hours. Again, the best chance of storms are going to be out towards the west with highs in the 80s for the most part across the entire area with isolated storms in our western sections. Then tonight, mostly fair and mild with lows in the 60s and 50s. Then tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, isolated storms again out towards the west with highs in the upper 70s to around 80. Then as we go into Saturday morning, lows will be kind of cool, lower 50s to mid 50s across the area. Then Saturday afternoon looking pretty good, highs in the upper 70s to around 80. And then on Sunday morning, mild once again with lows in the mid 50s. Let's take a look at the next 7 days. We're looking at 20% chance of storms today, 10% tomorrow, dry on the weekend, maybe some more storms on Monday for Memorial Day, better chance of storms on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then much warmer as we head towards the latter part of next week. By the way, we have a brand new tool to help you keep informed of changing weather conditions here in the 4 states. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy has more.
There's a new addition to the KOAM Skywatch weather team going the extra mile to keep you and your family safe during hazardous weather. This is the new Skywatch Storm Tracker. The Storm Tracker can go live anywhere, anytime, allowing our team to give you an up-close look at severe weather as it rolls through the region. Equipped with multiple cameras, you can ride along with the Skywatch team live on air, online, on the go, through our YouTube page and on the KOAM Plus app. The Storm Tracker keeps our team in the field connected live to our forecasting systems at the station. This is an all-new resource, does more than track severe weather. We'll bring live, up-to-the-minute reports on flooding, snow, and any other hazard you might face to keep you ahead of the storm. Safety is our top priority for the communities and our teams in the field. The Storm Tracker won't be driving into paths of tornadoes. It will track where the weather is, where it's going, and how it affects your day.
And you're going to have a chance to check out the Storm Tracker in person. The Storm Tracker and the Skywatch weather team will be Roper Kia Mitsubishi on Friday, the June 16th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're also going to be various communities around the area, and at a later time we'll announce more chances to see it, so you want to miss out on that. We'll be right back when we return.
Welcome back. We've got KJ Ashley in studio with us this morning, here to tell us about an upcoming community block party in Pittsburgh. And this isn't the first time you've done this.
No, this is the second annual summertime kickoff, and we're real excited because we have a few people on board that wasn't here last year with us. So We have Eagle Beverage from my friend Steve from Eagle Beverage. He's up here helping us out. I have my GM from Buffalo Wild Wings, Chris Narian. He's doing a lot of good stuff for us. So,
which having the sponsors behind you is huge, because last year it was just a group
us.
of dads that
me, Michael,
put it together.
Dion, and Willie and myself. So this year it's a lot easier because we got a lot more help though. So we're really appreciative for that.
So let's talk details. When and where can you go, and who's allowed to participate?
It's for everybody in the surrounding areas who can make it. It's at Schlanger Park this Sunday at from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have to change the time just due to heat, so it'll be a lot cooler at nighttime. So from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. this Sunday at Schlanger Park.
All right, so Sunday late afternoon,
Yeah.
And you guys are going to have food. You're going to have
the bouncy houses for the kids. We're going to get Jolly Trolley to come and give out free snow cones, and we want to do some face painting for the kids that wants to do that. And then the splash pad is also be available, so people can be warm. The kids will be warm. I mean, cool and stuff like that. So it's going to be. We're hoping for a bigger turnout than last year. Last year was pretty big, so we're hoping for a big turnout this year.
How many kids do you think will?
Hopefully hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah. Yeah, I know you had a lot last year, and you guys were cooking for all of them yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
this year you've got meat provided actually by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings, they're giving us hamburgers, they're giving us chicken, they're giving us buns and hot dog buns and hamburger buns and stuff like that. So we're really appreciate it. Thank you, Chris, man. You're the best.
Do you guys still need anything?
Not really. We're pretty much got it. We're been communicating with each other, even though we all work and stuff. So we still been keeping in communication with each other. So we all got our own little list to get. So,
and why did you guys decide to start doing this last year and continue doing it?
We want to do this every year. It's gonna be like a Pittsburgh holiday, so to speak. So it's just something that we just want to do for our community. I mean, our kids they live here, they grow up here, they go to school here. So it's just something fun for the kids, and it's just something that we thought would be awesome. So.
Well, KJ, thanks for coming in this morning and sharing this. So again, from 4 to 8 on Sunday at Pittsburgh's Schlanger Park, that's where the party's at. Bring the whole family. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. The city of Joplin is holding another sesquicentennial event today. Central Christian Center will host this month's Joplin Goes to the Movies, and today's movie will be There's No Business Like Show Business, starring Marilyn Monroe, which follows a family of performers when a love interest threatens to break up the act. The center was formerly known as the Fox Theater, and officials are excited to see it brought back to life.
But you've got to see the lobby. It is a relief of the outside, and the lobby is a Spanish revival. It's great architecture. It's unique in the area. Once you get into the theater, the Spanish motif continues with the sconces on both sides of it.
The movie will begin at 6 p.m. at the Central Christian Center. On Wednesday, Joplin schools gave residents and alumni a chance to walk through Columbia Elementary School one last time. The building is set to be demolished this summer. It was built in 1927 to replace Columbia Elementary, but Columbia and West Central Elementary students now attend Dover Hill Elementary, meaning the old building is no longer in use.
Kind of one day for all the generations of students and families that have come into, come through Columbia School to, kind of experience one last time of walking the halls and walking their classrooms and, remember and rejoice all the good times they had.
And have many memories. I remember all my teachers. I remember playing softball out on the playground. I had wonderful experiences here.
The district says it will complete an asbestos abatement process before beginning demolition. A Joplin High School student is back in town after representing the school on the international level. Anna Barnhart is a junior at JHS with a penchant for a science experiment. She spent dozens of hours working with mice, studying how various diets impact simulated Alzheimer's disease responses. And that work won her the MSSU Regional Science Fair and several other awards. It also earned her a spot in last week's Regeneron International Science and Engineering Fair down in Dallas, Texas.
Just seeing the amount of work that these kids do all year, it's a very impressive platform to be able to go to an international event like this, and they can see how they kind of stack up against 70 some countries in the world. even if they don't bring back awards, we're super proud of them.
Only 1,800 students from around the world are invited to that science and engineering fair.
And we've got some science to talk about this morning with the weather. We have some radar returns showing up in western Oklahoma with some showers and thunderstorms. Some of those might sneak into the western portions of our viewing area later on today, but we're really not expecting a whole lot. Now, yesterday morning, we had some showers and thunderstorms over in Dade County, putting down quite a bit of rainfall there. Then in the afternoon, we saw redevelopment out towards the west. In fact, Nowata County, some places got close to 3 inches of rain, and that is much needed because this part of southeastern Kansas and northeast Oklahoma has been extremely dry, and the drought conditions. This morning, we're seeing some fog in some of those river valleys, and of course, I'll have all complete forecast, including a look at your holiday weekend when we come back.
Well, some local High-Speco Parker Stores employees presented a donation to the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the 4 states. The donation was worth more than $3,600. It's the first of 4 donations the organization plans to make to the house. It's part of its 2023 giving program.
High-Speco chose Ronald McDonald House Charities because their mission closely aligns with our company's core values, and their work in child care is both significant and inspiring to us. So we'd like to be involved with the betterment of our communities so we can make an impact on the customers and the people that we serve.
Each of the company's 7 locations chose a local charity to support quarterly. On Wednesday, the Giving Branch of Flat Branch Home Loans in Joplin presented checks to some nonprofit organizations and one individual. Philanthropic group usually receives requests for donations. This month received several from the Joplin area, so in return, they held a reception for the recipients. The Giving Branch presented checks to Jackson's Badgers, Fostering Hope, Abide Missions Incorporated, and Bright Futures of Joplin.
We have 87% of our employees that are giving to the Giving Branch. We've raised over $700,000 for the Joplin community. We've been able to give $424,000 to individuals, as well as $276,000 to nonprofits here in our very own backyard.
Giving Branch also presented a check to one person, and that check went to Elizabeth Drowning of Carthage. Elizabeth, or Libby, learned she has an aggressive brain cancer. Giving Branch donated $50,000 to help cover her cost of living, medicine, and travel expenses. On Wednesday, Tank Connection celebrated 20 years in the Southeast Kansas community. It's an employee-owned storage tank manufacturing company. The company had a luncheon where founders of the company spoke to employees.
Well, I think for us, it's the fact that we're employee-owned. We're very much a family-oriented business. We want to support the community. Our shared purpose with this business is to create generational value for our shareholders and our employee owners.
The luncheon was at Tank Connection headquarters at 3609 North 16th Street in Parsons. Well, this morning we're discussing books.
That's right. These kids at Drew Elementary School are getting a timely visit from the May Book Project, which was created last year when a group of St. Louis, Missouri high school students said that they were ignored after asking some of their school libraries to buy more Asian American books. In celebration of Asian Pacific Heritage Month, the May Book Project now offers a free toolkit, a resource guide, and a book list, and organizers say of about 250 high-quality and vetted Asian American titles are available.
While there has recently been a nationwide push to include more diverse books in schools, there's still much work to be done. According to the National Education Association's most recent data, only around 9% of children's books published in the U.S. include Asian characters.
And that brings us to this morning's question, and that is, what is your favorite genre of book? And let's see, what do we have there? 28% is mystery. That seems to be the most popular.
Okay.
And then science fiction right behind that at 22%, same thing as other. And then, of course, 11% nonfiction and fiction.
We don't have any fantasy readers out here.
That's interesting.
Or maybe it's more of
and
a
look at
combination.
Romance. Do you believe that? 0% romance? Don't think so.
Yeah, it's because I didn't vote.
Oh, okay. There we go. One vote for romance.
There we go.
All right.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a weatherman's live shot goes awry as he gags. Oh my goodness, all because of the smell of manure.
Oh my goodness.
It's called the smell of money, folks.
That's exactly right. We're looking at a beautiful shot here in Pittsburgh. A little bit of fog out there, but I'll be back to tell you about the weekend forecast when we come back. But first, we're also going to take a look live at the Petro truck stop along I-44 in southwest Joplin.
Okay, we are here outside of the Petro gas station in Joplin, and I'm here with Corporal Sam Carpenter with us Missouri State Highway Patrol. So we're talking about this Memorial Weekend. So tell me a little about what you guys are expected to see that's kind of different from the normal days.
Well, any holiday weekend we expect to see an increase of traffic on our highways, and so as such we try to increase the number of troopers that are out doing enforcement for the holiday just to keep our roadways a little bit safer.
So what are some things that you think people need to be aware of this weekend? Obviously it's common sense. Follow the rules, laws, buckle up, don't drink and drive, but just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, just with that added congestion, the biggest thing we want people to do is give themselves extra time to get to their destination and not try to make up time with speed. Speed's our number one contributing factor in serious injuries and fatal crashes, so we want to keep people's speeds down. The traffic is going to be heavy, so you're not going to be able to maintain those speeds anyway. And we do have a lot of construction going on, so just be patient, plan your route. Give yourself extra time, but we are going to be looking for the impaired drivers, of course, but also distracted driving and aggressive driving. Those are the things we target the most.
So say someone gets in an accident this weekend driving, they're out of town, they're in state. What's one way they can probably get a hold of you guys if they need help?
Obviously, if you're in a crash, 911 will get you help. Star 55 is our emergency line for the Highway Patrol on your cell phone. And we'll get you help wherever you are. It goes to the nearest agency. We want people to be aware, though, if you're in a minor crash on our roadways, the law does that. We ask you to move your vehicle off. That's our law in Missouri. So make sure everybody's okay, but get your vehicles out of the roadway so we don't cause another crash.
All right, well, I appreciate the time. Hopefully you guys have a safe weekend out there working, and anybody else out working this weekend. So have a great Memorial Weekend, and we'll be right back after this.
Flooring. Welcome back. We have a beautiful morning shaping up across the 4 states, including Seneca, Missouri, with the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Just a few clouds off in the distance. It looks like a pretty nice day. We are going to have to deal with the allergies, though. 8.9 today, 8.8 tomorrow. Most of that grass, hickory, and mulberry. Now, yesterday morning, we had some storms over in Dade County, dumping quite a bit of rain there. Then we saw redevelopment in the afternoon, pretty heavy rains in Nowata County, also Montgomery County, and parts of southeastern Kansas, where they desperately need the rainfall because of the ongoing drought situation. This morning, we're seeing temperatures in the 50s and 60s right now, 59 in Chanute, 58 in Neodesha, 57 cooler degrees in Parsons. Meanwhile, it's 64 over there in Cassville. Right now in Joplin, we just have a few clouds out there, 60 degrees, calm wind, 96% on the humidity, and we had some fog earlier. The fog is now starting to lift in Pittsburgh as well, 63 degrees with a dew point of 62, so the humidity is still high at 99%. This afternoon, partly cloudy skies with temperatures rising into the 70s and lower 80s by this afternoon, 83 for our high, and no severe weather expected out towards our west. That's where the biggest chance of severe weather is going to be. Rain chances are going to be low for most of the area. We could see an isolated thunderstorm or two develop out towards the west with highs in the lower 80s across the area. Then tonight, mostly fair skies with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. And then tomorrow, partly cloudy skies again, isolated storms out to the west, highs right around 80 degrees. Then as we go into Saturday morning, quite cool. Temperatures in the 50s in the morning and mid-50s in the western parts of our area. Over the next 7 days, pretty dry for the weekend for the most part, and then 20% chance of storms for your Memorial Day. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Sam. In Consumer Watch this morning, Target is removing several items from this year's Pride collection after receiving threats related to them. In a statement, retailer says some of its employees are concerned about their safety and well-being. So it's pulling items, quote, at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior. The statement does not list the items, but social media posts suggest controversy over Target's tuck-friendly swimsuits that help transgender women conceal male genitalia. False information is spreading that the swimsuits are marketed towards kids, but Target says they are not and that they are for adults. Broadway is back. The number of seats sold to performances has now reached pre-pandemic levels. This is the first full season Broadway has been open since theaters were shuttered due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Broadway League says nearly 12.3 million people attended performances in the most recent season, bringing in about $1.6 billion. The season included 40 new productions and 35 continuing productions. A European delight will be making its way to the U.S. Kinder Chocolate. The Ferrero company's flagship product will debut in the United States beginning in August. The famous European chocolate is described as a milk chocolate bar with a creamy, milky filling. I've had this. It's amazing. The Kinder brand launched in Europe in 1968 and first came to the U.S. in 2017 as the Kinder Joy, which paired the chocolate treat with a toy. 2 years later, the Kinder Bueno made its U.S. debut, a more premium chocolate bar than its predecessor. Well, too many weeds in a garden are a nuisance, but to a Minnesota winery, they make for a tasty vintage with floral notes. Kirsten Mitchell shows you how the Urban Forage Winery turns dandelions into a delicious drink.
A field of dandelions isn't what some homeowners want to see.
It's an underappreciated plant, I would say that.
But for Jeff Zeitler, it's the perfect place to find enough of the weed to turn it into wine. Zeitler and his family forage this field every year.
You hold like the base of the dandelion, like right here, and then I like to grab the center stuff and twist it a little bit to get most of it out.
In a typical year, we'll harvest about 10 to 15 gallons of pure dandelion fluff like that.
They use the flowers to make wine at Urban Forage Winery and Cider House. Zeitler and his wife opened it 7 years ago.
Kind of learned some recipes from others, created some recipes of my own, and realized that you can make wine out of almost anything that contains sugar.
They forage around the Twin Cities all summer long, finding use for fruit that would otherwise go to waste.
There are apple trees, cherry trees, pear trees, all over the Twin Cities, mostly in people's yards. But most people with those trees are thrilled to have somebody take an interest and want to pick that fruit.
I really like how my dad comes up with a lot of creative ways to forage all of these different things for his winery.
Once they're done, it's back to the winery on Lake Street.
All right, those yellow moist petals are what we're going to take. We're going to put them right there in the hot water and cook them down until we get sort of a dandelion tea.
Then they get a second wash and head to the fermentation tank.
Never have enough dandelions. It really tastes very floral and nectary. Most people are really curious about it and they want to try it at least once.
And so we did.
Cheers. Cheers. Dandelion wine.
I'd try it once, and I guess they're not going to tell us how it tasted. The team can only forage in areas that have not been treated with chemicals or used as a dog park. Makes perfect sense. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
It's 13.
Well, a TV weatherman in Australia left his co-anchors in stitches recently when he did a segment from a barnyard.
The pungent smells of cattle and manure were so strong, he was gagging nearly the entire time. Jeannie Moose reports.
If watching the news, oh God, sometimes makes you want to gag, imagine what it's like to actually gag while doing the news, or at least the weather.
Oh, it's smelly. Yes, the air is very fresh here this morning, Carl. I can confirm. My goodness me. Whew, we've got some cattle that we're hand feed. Sorry, I got a case of the gags happening here. But
the barnyard smells of the cows he mingled with get him in.
This one just keeps turning around on me, and I'm not sure how I feel about. That.
Tim Davies does weather segments for 9 Network's Today Show in Australia. He often does gags, but this was actual gagging live.
I'm really sorry, everybody.
Toughen up, Tim. Oh my goodness.
I've personally dealt with a lot of livestock over the course of my career, starting with pigs.
Like my friend here.
But they never triggered a gag reflex. Back in the studio, a co-anchor sang the praises of cow manure and rubbed it in.
You just rub it over your skin, Timmy. It's beautiful, that stuff.
Tim was no lollygagger. He soldiered on, apologizing to the farmer.
I'm sorry, I'm such a city slicker.
A city slicker gagging until the cows come home. Genimos. CNN.
I got a case of the gags happening here.
New York.
Straight into the forecast, if that's all right with you.
Okay, so I grew up on a cattle farm, and
Right.
we just say the smell of manure is the smell of money.
That's
so
exactly
I mean,
right.
it's funny. I think whoever sent him out there knew
You think?
that he has a weak stomach, and they knew what was going to happen.
Oh, that was
They probably
awful.
even warned the folks out there, he's probably going to not do well.
Yeah. There was a lot of other people standing around. They didn't seem to be bothered.
No,
So-
'cause it's their farm. Yeah, they were.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
they
we
can
have
handle it.
we have lots to talk about as far as the weather goes, especially as we head towards the holiday weekend. I know a lot of folks are wondering about that. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the 60s, a few 50s thrown in, like Grove with 59 down on Grand Lake, 59 in Jay, 62 in Bella Vista, 60 degrees for our friends up in Stockton. This afternoon, partly cloudy skies with temperatures warming up through the 70s to around 80 degrees by lunchtime, 83 for the afternoon high, and then we'll see temperatures dropping back down through the 70s this evening. Severe weather, not really a threat. Maybe an isolated storm or two in our western counties, but the severe weather will be confined to the high plains of eastern New Mexico and West Texas, extending up into eastern Colorado. Rain chances are going to be low for most of the area for the next 36 hours. And that's pretty good news as we start the holiday weekend. Temperatures this afternoon are going to rise into the 70s and 80s with, again, the best chance of storms out towards our west. And then as we go into the overnight hours, temperatures dropping down into the 50s and 60s. And then as we head into tomorrow, a little bit cooler, temperatures in the upper 70s, maybe touching 80 out towards the west with, again, isolated storms out there. Then as we go into Saturday morning, quite cool. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s across the area. How about the next 7 days? Well, chance of thunderstorms today, 20%, 10% tomorrow, nice on the weekends, 20% chance of storms on Monday for Memorial Day, better chance of storms on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then getting much warmer the middle part of next week. Tanya?
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. On Wednesday, Tank Connections celebrated 20 years in the Southeast Kansas community. It's an employee-owned storage tank manufacturing company. Now, the company had a luncheon where founders of the company spoke to employees. The City of Joplin is holding another sesquicentennial event today. The Central Christian Center will host this month's Joplin Goes to the Movies. Today's movie at 6 p.m. will be There's No Business Like Show Business, starring Marilyn Monroe, which follows a family of performers when a love interest threatens to break up the act. The center was formerly known as the Fox Theater, and officials are excited to see it brought back to life. Some local High-Speaco Parker Stores employees presented a donation to the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the 4 states. The donation was worth more than $3,600. It's the first of 4 donations the organization plans to make to the house as part of their 2023 giving program.
All right, looking at the next 7 days, we're looking at mostly fair skies for the weekend, especially the holiday weekend. 20% chance of thunderstorms on Monday. Better chance of storms, I think, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then lesser chances on Thursday. And then look at those temperatures on Thursday and Friday, getting close to 90 degrees. So summer is not that far away. And then more storms maybe next weekend with a 30% chance of storms.
All right, well, have you ever dreamed of being accepted into the Harry Potter world of Hogwarts? Your dream may now become a reality.
An acceptance letter to the fictional school immortalized in the Harry Potter series is going up for auction. The letter was one of hundreds that flew down the chimney in the first Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
It was donated by a producer and partner of 1492 Pictures, with proceeds going to charity. The letter is expected to be sold for at least $10,000 in a Chiswick auction next month. I mean, not all the letters got opened. There were a lot of envelopes that came through, so I'm wondering if they all actually had the same printing on them.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in the coming years.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather, of course, today at noon.
That's right. Have a great morning and an even better day.